Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Fnatic.NA and Keita Gaming. This is part of the We Play series, Group Stage D, Phase 2, and it's going to be the lower bracket. Here in this Best of 3 series, we're going on into Game 2. So that is Keita putting 1 point on the board with some impressive Phantom Lancer farm, going on up at over 800 GPM on a Phantom Lancer. Level 25, what you going to do? Not too much in this situation as they just take it away. Fnatic, unfortunately, not getting the split push that they were looking for. Nevertheless, moving on forward, seeing an immediate ban of Phantom Lancer from Fnatic, and yeah, a lot of respect in that situation, and a little bit of perturbed based on how that last game played out, I'm sure. Either way, I myself am Blaze. Here's Vickermond. How's it going, man?
I like how I accidentally spoil the fact that I'm on the cast just by laughing at stuff you say. I'm sorry about that. I'm doing great.
What is this? Is it supposed to be a surprise?
I don't know. You seem to sort of slow roll the introduction sometimes, which I appreciate, but you know, get a little drama in there. So Fnatic, honestly, they came so close, Blaze. They had some really inventive split pushes. Like, even when they were in the base, they would split 3 people up into different lanes just to get those Raxes down. And I think if they had just done it 5 to 10 minutes earlier, they would have taken it. And Maglev just got way too big, because the flip side of that was they never handled Maglev. I think consciously they never handled Maglev, but in the consequence was they just got too big and eventually flipped the whole script on them. We do see them, by the way, just, yeah, like you said, they don't want to see that PL again. Get that PL action out of there. Keita, however, they take the lone Druid early, so Fnatic will not have access to that again, but Smurf can play a lot of different heroes. We do have the Lifestealer in the pool. I think they, more likely than not, will take that up here.
Yeah, very, very common. They have a little bit of a yin-yang relationship, Lone Druid and Nakes. They go on in and they have the Feast dishing out a lot of damage to the bear, but also then Tangle locking down the Nakes himself, and that can be very difficult to deal with. Either way, it's a big possibility based on the fact that, yeah, Smurf does love to play that Lifestealer, but right now they're not prioritizing the carries. They're moving in and rounding out their lanes with some top-tier supports, and as a result of that, Keita actually going to go ahead and pick up their dual core already. Pick up a Rubik, counters out Magnus pretty well. Even Bane, it's not too bad against, because the Reverse Polarity and Fiend's Grave are great ultimates to steal. And along with that, the Lifestealer, of course, picking that up. Fnatic doesn't have the ability to deal with that, so they themselves pick up the tri-lane that they were up against, the Keeper of Light and the Bane. Yeah. They're pretty much setting it up so that they can lock down a single hero 100%, even if they're raged on out. But still a very, very difficult draft to go up against. I think both are kind of happy with what they got out of this, but nevertheless, I think that personally, Keita has the most potential to move into a better 5-man lineup.
Right. I honestly really like both lineups. I think Fnatic have drafted a good lineup, no question about it. And I think, honestly, I'm happy with Keita's as well. One thing that I was worried about with Fnatic last time is that they didn't have any elements of the support elements of their tri-lane early. And I do think drafting good supports early on is just critically important in modern Dota 2. So I like this drafting strategy from them in this game a lot more. The flip side, of course, being, like you said, Keita can fill out this 5 with anything they want, basically. They have a lot of options for the possible mid. Fnatic are going to ban a lot of them out, but they could still go with, you know, a lot of different stuff that would still be very useful. Fnatic, I think, are going to target mid bans exclusively. Yeah,
it's a good idea there. I mean, taking out the Queen of Pain seats, I was running that to great effect, and that's something they could make sure isn't going to be an issue. The Puck is already out, so I would assume the Queen of Pain goes next. But first, the Templar Assassin, because it is just so darn good against that Magnus 1v1. Either way, if they take out Puck, TA, Queen of Pain, they're going to be in a position where they will be able to control the mid relatively effectively, but although Mojo storms out, I'm confident in how he can play on the Magnus. Cizo has shown some versatility, some flexibility himself, and I think it'll still work out in their favor as a whole. The Lone Druid will definitely be running on that off lane, so they don't have to worry about that solo. They just need one more support to work with Rubik, which, to be honest, who can't? I mean, Rubik just sets it up, and all they have to do is have one single support to knock it out, and commonly picking up the Lina, but nevertheless, I mean, they can pretty much go with whatever they feel is appropriate.
Right. Yeah, I think they can fill this out in a number of different ways. Fnatic can't possibly ban all those supports. So I do like the mid targeting coming from them. And that flip side of that is what you said, that Keita have a comfortable position. But I actually think Keita can't possibly ban out all the things that Fnatic can go for either. I think Clockwork, I've mentioning it for the second time, sort of fishing for this clock, but I think Fnatic could deploy that Clockwork to great effect. He's not banned out. Two sort of number 3 options are taken out, the Nature's Prophet and the Weaver. But Clockwork's still available, and he's quite good against Lifestealer. He may be able to survive in the lane, although unfortunately Rubik is one of the better supports against Clockwork because he can lift him out of his cogs and deposit him outside of them. But still a possibility for Fnatic. I don't actually know how much Hannah loves to play Clockwork, so maybe still a Darkseer because he's still in the pool this time, but
yeah,
they have options, I feel, and they have options for the number 1 as well.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Vacuum's RP didn't make the impact they were looking for in that last match, but nevertheless they have an Illuminate to back it up now. The Illuminate was so frustrating to go up against over and over. That was probably like, I can't say it was the best Ezreal play, but it was just like the epitome of what a Ezreal accomplishes. You saw it very visibly over and over and over again. They tried to bring down, siege down the tower, and instead they just crashed like water on rock. It really was not something that they could go up against, especially since Coddle was able to get to that level 5, that level 7 with pretty good timing. So now Fnatic has that to supplement with their team fight of the Magnus and potentially that Darkseer, but I don't know. They definitely want to pipe relatively early, but I negate that. They don't really care about pipe. I don't know. Lina and Rubik, they have a lot of magical damage threats, but I don't think it's going to be that impressive, honestly.
Lina Rubik?
Yeah, they can dish out a lot of. I mean, the Fade Bolt, the Dragon Slave, all that type of stuff.
Oh, you mean Fnatic? Sorry, Fnatic's pipe. No, I don't think pipe is a critical pickup on Fnatic here. If they do go with the Darkseer because he's able to flash farm effectively, maybe they'll just add it as sort of a sweetener.
Exactly.
But it's not going to be a priority.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that could be an added benefit, but it wouldn't be the reason for the pick in this situation. But still, we see that combo, the Rubik and the Lina, really strong telekinesis into Light Strike Array. It pretty much guarantees a lane, and what the Keita can do now is go for an aggressive try. Rubik, Lifestealer, Lina up top. It's actually something that Fnatic.NA used to run on their previous roster when they still had Whitebeard and I'm trying to remember Rolo as their supports and other individuals. So they used to run. What's that?
Blast from the past, son.
Yeah, sure enough. A lot of different things switched up since then, I'm sure. But nevertheless, I mean, they're staying true to their style. I mean, if they want to go for that aggressive try against Fnatic, I think Fnatic will be knowing how to deal with it. But nevertheless, it's still going to be powerful. Either way, Clockwork does get picked up, and that finally comes on through.
Right. I'm not surprised about the Clockwork. The only question is survival, like I said, because the Rubik Lina Lifestealer can make your life hell. But if he survives, I think Clock's a great pickup in this game. Cogs off the Bear, cogs off the Lifestealer, get them out of the fight. Rush Ghost Scepter is going to be a pretty big deal for this Clockwork this game.
I was just thinking about that, but what if he hits Ghost Scepter and then immediately after you get a Laguna Blade to the face? It kind of feels like it has its limits. Maybe a Force Staff instead?
It has its limits. Force Staff actually just as good. Yeah, I agree with you. Force Staff is actually going to be pretty great. The only thing is, if they're relying on Hannah to be their mech carrier, whatever that is going to take a while, because it has to be after mech, and I don't think he's going to have a very easy laning phase either.
So this is going to be interesting in how this breaks down. I'm really curious to see. We saw a really great blink timing from the Magnus picked up by Caesar. I'm curious to see what Mojo sorts out, how rapidly he can get that. Or actually, I'm switching that up, aren't I? Who had the Magnus last game? Who picked that one up? It was
Fnatic. MSS had it.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was saying, but not at all. But I'll keep on going with it anyways, as if that never happened. Mojo Stormstat had a great Blink Dagger timing last game, 100%. Like, he had it at 13 minutes. And if they can get that accomplished again, and then use it differently and more appropriately, I think they can be very, very effective in how they can actually make their team fights work out, especially now that they have the Coddle to back it up. But they're going up against even more team fight now with the Sand King pickup. I kind of like it because of the fact that they already have damage dealers through the Lifesteal, through the Lone Druid, and then they have a couple of squishy int heroes who can set things up after the fact, but I don't know, it's difficult to make things work 100% for them, whereas Sand King is a guaranteed stun. It's very reliable. You just jump in, you can hit a couple people with that Burrow Strike easily, and sometimes even 3 or 4, I mean, if you're really, really good with it. So it is very powerful. The question is how they're going to lane it.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I got distracted for a second, sorry, but who the heck goes mid? Rubik?
I think Sand King, honestly, in my opinion. Sand King versus Magnus, 1v1 mid. If you get a Quelling Blade and go for Caustic, you're going to be able to destroy him. That's just my opinion.
That's going to be an interesting lane, because it's going to be Empower Magnus cleaving onto Sand King and Caustic Finale trying to... Wow. Okay. Sure, I can see it. It's going to be the weirdest mid matchup ever. But on the plus side, it should be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. The only other option is if they put Sand King safe lane solo. If they're doing an aggressive try, they could put Lone Druid on the mid, but...
Right, they could do the Sand King safe lane solo LD mid. Lone Druid mid, not bad. Anti-Mage coming out for Fnatic, so Smurf's hero. Keeper of the Light, Bane, Anti-Mage. No joke of a lane. That Anti-Mage will find farm. If I'm Keita, I do not feel comfortable going aggressive try against that, frankly. As good as Rubik Lina Lifestealer is,
I agree.
I don't feel confident about that at all. So I think they're going to do safe lane try, and that does mean that Sand King either goes
CISO mid.
Yes,
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I've played Sand King mid a lot, and there's a lot of people who hate it, a lot of people who love it, and I'm definitely one of those that prefer it, honestly. It opens up so much potential for this hero that usually is relegated to sitting at level 3 and 4 forever and being like pissed that he can't actually get any initiations off. In this sense, he has so much more potential to actually be a big player, a big core hero in team fights.
Sure.
And I really think it'll be very, very beneficial, especially if they get a reverse polarity steal. Steph Style setting up an RP, following it up with an epicenter. There's just nothing more to say about that.
Absolutely, and if he doesn't lose mid, if he doesn't get ganked too much or anything, then that's all the things that you need and don't usually get on Sand King taken care of. And this is one of the things I was talking about a few weeks ago, and I haven't mentioned it quite recently, but when you're facing up against Magnus mid, Magnus will never lose mid, basically. It's very hard for a Magnus to lose mid. But it's also pretty hard for Magnus to convincingly win mid. So if you want to use heroes that are level dependent but not traditional mid heroes, the best time to do it is against Magnus. Because he's not going to be that... He's not going to punish them that easily. We saw Roxkiss do it successfully with an Omni Knight against Dignitas. We've seen teams do it with other heroes as well. A Dragon Knight mid solo. Obviously, Dragon Knight is a bit of a more common mid, but you feel even more comfortable doing it against Magnus. And here, Keita are doing it with the Sand King. If this pays off, this is huge. 2 problems with Sand King as a support. Levels, farm. What does mid get you? Levels, farm.
Guaranteed. The Caustic is going to let you get a lot of last hits. You're not going to be able to 100% shut down the Magnus either, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. As long as you can get your own farm, it comes down to how you position yourself in team fights and how do you make that work. But right now, you were talking about how that top tri-lane, the defensive tri-lane of Bane, Keeper of the Light, and Anti-Mage seemed extremely dangerous, and it seems that the Lone Druid would agree with you. Fluxbox is actually, instead of going on the offlane, building up a jungle Druid with Stout Shield and Quelling Blade, Nomenon through trees, and he's prepared to just right-click away on the creeps, PvE it up a little bit, and get some dedicated and stable farm in that jungle.
Yeah, definitely. And we do see CISO, he hasn't actually leveled anything yet, so he's waiting to see if he needs the Burrow Strike or the Sandstorm to escape from something before he picks up this Caustic. MSS, meanwhile, he's doing that special mag mid versus mid with the Empower to actually deal that splashing damage. So that's very, very smart, and this is... I'm going to be watching this lane quite a bit.
Yeah, melee versus melee, both the Empower is great. It's an you don't usually get it first unless you're up against the melee, but great for Mojo Storms out here. And same thing with CISO, picking up that Caustic. He knew he was up against the mag, and that was the plan. So he just wanted to make sure he wasn't getting dual laned on or anything weird like that. And now he's gradually injecting this Venom, making sure that pretty much any time Mojo goes in for a deny, he takes a huge amount of damage instead. The creep wave currently favoring Mojo, but actually can switch up pretty quickly. Interesting. I actually like that move. Coming in with the Enfeeble, I mean, he's moving on around, warding up a little bit anyways, but dropping down the Enfeeble, I was talking about a Quelling Blade early, and that can definitely guarantee you getting some of the last hits to get the big Caustics going across. With the Enfeeble, it actually makes it very difficult. You lose half your damage right here, and you're going to have a lot less potential to get those Caustics off the way you intend.
It's going to be really hard for him to get last hits, just because when he is enfeebled. But I actually think Caustic will be okay, because as long as his damage is still non-zero, Caustic will come through. The problem is MSS has been amazing about dodging these Caustics.
Yep, 100%. Hasn't hit by a single one. He already has his bottle complete, whereas CISO really can't write home about that. He has Tango's just continuously trying to keep himself alive, but that 2-minute rune, if the Magnus wants it, he hit it uncontested, because CISO has just been so far behind comparatively on last hits. And so it's a lane that you have to, obviously, if Mojo's used to it and is playing very, very appropriately against it, he's going to have a perfectly fine time.
I don't think he's used to Magnus versus Sand King solo mid battles, but he is playing it very well. I just don't know if I'd say that that's due to his immense Magnus versus Sand King expertise. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it's something that I think you should, still pro players should practice at some point in time. There's always those curveballs in there, and pretty much Sand King is a hero that can do okay mid, just based on the fact that he's up against a melee. He can do perfectly fine mid, but if the player isn't experienced up against a Sand King and they make a mistake or two, Sand King just destroys it. 100% just utmost. It's all about them knowing when to position themselves, go on to the creep wave and things like that. So it's an unorthodox matchup, and people that don't know it, I mean, this Sand King would be like having 3 kills by now. But of course, Mojo at least is well practiced in a lot of different things, and this happens to be a part of it, as he hasn't taken any caustic damage and seems to have a pretty great control over his position here.
Right. And the other thing I want to point out is actually Smurf is doing substantially better farming early than we see Maglev doing so far this game. He's going to hit his Battle Fury in a very timely fashion. He's at 21 last hits, 3 minutes, so about 7 last hits a minute, quite good. And he's got his Ring of Health already. He actually picks up a Quelling just to ensure that he gets all those last hits. So I like this a lot. Steph style, however, they're going to try to get Hannah here.
Yeah, Hannah does get popped up. There is the Light Strike to follow telekinesis. He can pop off the cogs after he gets out of this position here, making sure Life Strike won't be able to go on top of him entirely, but still, he's cornered. And like a dog in the corner, he's not going to be able to get out. They hand the first blood to Maglev, and that changes the GPM we were just talking about. No matter how many last hits you get, when one of the 2 carriers gets the first blood, he's going to be the one ahead. Definitely
an important kill for Keita. I like the coordination. Sometimes, I mean, Invis Rune is the rune that makes it a lot easier for you to get that gank. So, a bit lucky, but nonetheless, they're going to have to be happy with that. And Fluxpluck's doing okay in the jungle here. It's slow. I mean, it's slow going with Lone Druid in that jungle, but he is getting some farm, at least.
So,
how's this level?
Oh wow, Ciso does a really good move, but in turn, there comes the Skewerk onto the tower. It might be a solo kill right here. MSS, yes, he gets it. Now this was, I'll just break this down real quick. What ended up happening was the Sand King dropped down like 3 or 4 quick caustic injections and went for a Burrow Strike. Rank 2, enough to start a chain reaction. Multiple kills of the creep wave, and suddenly Mojo down on low life, and it is actually, if he felt like he was in a kind of bad spot, but fortunately for him, he's Magnus, he has the skewer, and since the Sand King has to choose between caustic and Burrow Strike, and doesn't even think about Sandstorm until later, he wasn't able to disjoint tower attacks. He just took way too much hits from the tower, and suddenly he's the one that is on the back end of it. So he dies, and now this tier 1 tower falls as well, putting a lot on the board for Fnatic.
That was such a classic Magnus kill. We used to see those all the time before the big nerf to skewer at low ranks, because Magnus was just an insane mid, because he could start on the low ground and skewer you into the tower right from level 1 skewer. And it was just a misery-inducing experience landing against Magnus. So MSS hearkening back to that with that move just now.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, Sand King set it up for him. He Burrow Strike behind him, which is generally what you do for a Burrow Strike to get more right clicks in, but he set himself up to be just tossed right on in, and yeah, skewering up the little Scorpion is going to put him in a weird spot. Speaking of weird spots, is Smurf trying to do that Empower? He's doing it. They stacked up this camp for him. He blinks up on the high ground, and since he has Empower from the Magnus, he's actually playing Magnus jungle as an anti-mage.
That's ridiculous. Oh my god.
Pocket strats.
A fast Battle Fury.
That is such a cool pocket strat. Taking no damage from that high ground, and then from there, he is farming up creeps like crazy. That's a triple stack of creeps. He just farmed that up no problem, and yeah, his GPM, despite not getting the first blood, is now back on top.
Wow, that's actually pretty freaking huge. I mean, that's what Empower is. It's a pseudo Battle Fury early on, and Smurf is going to really rocket ahead of Maglev here. Of course, Maglev has not gone for that Midas. He has Phase Boots, and it's going to be Drums, so looks like Race Car Lifestealer.
Yep, essentially. Substyle camping up a regeneration rune, trying to put him up on the cliff, and he actually succeeds. Another one of Ice Frog's amazing bugs. There's about 2 spots on each of those cliffs that they could still screw it over, and this is going to force out a TP scroll coming in. He actually has vision, so he's going to poke a prod at him and try to screw it up. Oh my goodness, this is just so annoying.
Oh man, I really didn't think. Wow, Hannah didn't buy TP scroll, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. I guess because he's waiting for the courier or something. But yeah, nevertheless, it's pretty much, it's entirely just the fact that they try to put a little barrier around the cliff, and they get like 2 tiny slots, like on the corners or something, where you can actually still do it at the right angle. It's actually true on the top rune as well. So there's just a couple of spots. If you just hit on WTF mode, go into practice mode, you spam it until it works. And in this case, unfortunate for Hannah Montana, but he got caught in that little bit. So until they fix it, he is stuck up on the cliff like the good old days.
I've actually never seen that. I mean, I've obviously seen it a million times before the fix, but I've never seen this bug. That sucks for him. Hannah has lost so much time. Look at the level of this Clockwork compared to the Lone Druid, like the number 3s. Level 3 Clock, level 6.
Oh, no. He says, oh, he's going to get it. I knew he was going to be a jerk about it. I knew he was going to do it.
Oh, no. This is... I mean, we laugh, but this is a big friggin' deal. Like, this Clockwork isn't going to be a factor for most of this game.
We do see on mid, RP committed onto Cizo, making the best of a bad situation, and right into the Illuminate. No, he actually doesn't get hit by it, but it doesn't matter. No Sandstorm ranked means no chance to dodge out the tower, and instead he does die. Meanwhile, up on top, they're putting damage on, so with or without a Clockwork, they're finding some map control, and that's doing pretty good for them. But of course, this could be time that the Clockwork could be finding farm himself, and instead, Hannah Montana stuck him on a cliff. He's got so many rocket flares, it's actually pretty poor on mana. And, in this position here, he's actually, he's going to be still waiting a little bit longer, even after the TP comes out.
This is a stationary Clockwork turret right here. This is if they were playing Warcraft, I mean, they just literally built a Clockwork on like high ground, and he's just sitting there turreting. Extra step style, invis though, invis.
Is he gonna? Oh! He did it again.
I can't believe this plays. At least he had a TP scroll.
Yeah, he's used to skewer, so he's waiting time. He got the clarity up to his buddy, I guess. I don't even know. Like Hannah Montana, he's kind of decided that he's gonna stick around. Like he doesn't even have the TP yet. He could have gone by now, but especially with the telekinesis being on cooldown. But no.
Okay, first off, he provides vision. So that's not to be underestimated. It's worse at night than during the daytime, but all he has to do is stick around 4 more minutes, and then he's going to be an amazing vision provider for Fnatic. And you save 150, the cost of a set of wards.
Nice. So hero for wards is kind of like the true support. But and actually he has a cool active ability that he can get vision across anywhere on the map. It's like a auto clairvoyance. It's really sweet.
Clairvoyance is casting the other stream, Blaze.
Oh, gotcha. I don't know. So in this position, they really just crying out to Ice Frog. Finally get the TP out. They've been waiting to make sure that the enemy isn't there. Because I was afraid that Steph Style was going to get the Invis rune and sit around invisible until the next TP came out and still be able to get the next lift.
The courier or teleport him. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Fnatic, here's the thing. They've been playing 4v5 that whole time, and they're still kind of okay, in my opinion, because Smurf is rocketing towards this Battle Fury. He's going to have it in about 11 minutes, and 11-minute Battle Fury is pretty freaking good. I feel like the median in pro games is about 13.5, so he's going to be ahead of that.
Sorry, I completely spaced out there, but I was checking.
That's alright. You're missing, I get it, you're missing Hannah Montana up on the high ground. And Fnatic, I mean, now they don't have vision. Their vision is now very poor without that Clockwork ward.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a very big limitation where they don't have bottom room control, and, I mean, I don't even know. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, in that kind of position, what do you do when you're in that spot where you're, like, literally, you're level 4, 10.5 minutes in? It's just, like, you gotta feel miserable about it, and there's not really much you can do, but, you know, you're just trying to survive, and I guess if they're going on you, be happy that your Anti-Mage almost has a Battle Fury outright.
No, definitely. I mean, you kind of have to accept the fact that you're not going to get those good Clockwork initiations until much later, and just hope that the rest of your team can carry it. And frankly, I mean, MSS doing very well. He's level 9. He's going to have his Blink Dagger really soon. And so, forget Clockwork initiation. We've got Magnus initiation. And if he adds on the Force Staff later like he did last game, I mean, that's a very, very mobile Magnus.
Yeah. This game has just been full of clever use of game mechanics, honestly. With the cliffing Anti-Mage and the telekinesis, I don't even know. Like, they're just all back and forth, trying to exploit these little tiny things. I mean, that's what a lot of the mechanics of Dota revolve from, is clever use of game mechanics, whether it's denying creeps or, I don't know. I
mean, lane pulls, pulling
creeps, blocking spawns, all that stuff.
We've gotten so used to this stuff, but it was all, at one point, new and weird. And it's just abusing what used to be the Warcraft 3 mechanics, and now they're faithfully ported over to Dota 2.
Sure enough. So we do see stacks coming out, actually a big stack for the Dire Ancients. So that puts them in a position where they can get Anti-Mage so darn farmed. He's got that Battle Fury, he's going to have that Empower. And if he's sitting on full HP, they can actually probably take that Ancient stack. And from there, just rolling in dollars, really. The Anti-Mage is going to be able to move in towards 3 a.m. pretty quickly and pick up that Manta style in no time at all.
Right. I mean, the thing is, Floxplok's not farming well. I mean, jungle Lone Druid farms pretty slowly, and he didn't go the Midas that would attempt to sort of carry that back. So he's got phase boots on the bear, but nothing else, really. Not even close to that armlet. He is building it, but it's going to take a while, so this Lone Druid not going to be that big of a factor. And meanwhile, if we look up towards Maglev, he actually doesn't have his armlet yet either. He's getting there, but the AM is going to hit a pretty big point pretty early relative to Keita's core heroes.
Mm-hmm. So, Haste and Blink up on the Magnus. Mojo going to be looking for a quick kill. Honestly, a very bloodless early game. We were now sitting on only 3 kills in 12.5 minutes. And I really think that Magnus is looking to change that. He has a great rune for it, and all he needs to do is find an opening. Right now, Cizo does have Sandstorm, so he's not as easy of a pick, but he is dropping pretty low on HP, and they can still try to go in on top of that.
Sure, I don't understand what the point of putting Maglev inside of this bear is. He realizes he doesn't get the last hits from this, right?
Well,
that was a joke.
I don't.
I'm just trying to think if manifested anything. They didn't successfully bait anybody. Nobody was coming down here from Fnatic, and they have good vision in this.
Oh, here's that haste I was talking about coming in. He meets Maglev in the jungle, but just walks right out of that open wound. So wasting out some mana, but beyond that, he doesn't accomplish too much.
Right. I mean, Haste Rune wasn't gonna. Obviously, that overrides open wounds, and I still feel like Fnatic are doing very well this time. The one thing is, Cizo is finding his levels. He's going to have level 2 Epicenter soon, which I very rarely say about Sand King in professional games, because frequently the game ends when he's still sitting on level 1 Epicenter, win or lose. But that's what a mid Sand King gives you.
Yeah, he's like level 10 for hours, but...
Yeah.
We do see Smurf clearing up that entire Ancient stack, and I think that's actually going to make it so that the damage shown from the Sand King is less and less relevant. Like, he can get the big Epicenter, but as soon as Anti-Mage starts getting big levels where he's at, like, actually deciding to rank up his spell shield, the magic damage output is only going to do so much to the main carry, and from there it becomes incidental damage against the supports, bringing down the Bane, bringing down the Ezreal really quickly, but not actually accomplishing too much on the main carry himself. Going for a Fiend's Grip on mid, they smoked right up onto it. Sand King coming in, Shift Q, the Burrow Strike, he gets the Burrow Strike right on top of MSS, and they do still pop out the Reverse Polarity. Nyx walked right on into that one, and I don't know why.
Maglev, that was a serious mistake there. He could have lived.
Yeah, that was perfect timer for Cizo. The TP was immediate response the second he saw them on the map, maybe even before it, just incidentally, but either way, he got the Burrow Strike to stop that RP, and instead, the Nyx walked right back on into it. So, very unfortunate.
A huge error, honestly. Unfortunately, and that's an important death for them. It's a lot of time for the lifestealer to be sitting. It's a lot of time for him not to get that critical armlet. Your armlet timing has to be good on lifestealer, especially when you're on a clock with anti-mage getting bigger and bigger. I don't know. I feel like that death is going to bite Keita in the ass later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be very painful. Because, I mean, right now, obviously, net worth 8k on the Anti-Mage. That's only going to get worse. Anti-Mage is one of the fastest farmers in the game. Rank for Blink. Has the Battle Fury, has the Empower. He just cleaves on through everything, and they even just casually walk by to mech him and say, "Hey, keep doing your thing." So
Keita were ahead on gold and XP before that lifestealer kill, and now, I mean, Fnatic will never be behind on gold again. They will only be behind if they lose by a giant margin. Maglev is actually in trouble again here because there's no Fiend's Grip, but they do have him feeble. He's going to stay in for now. He's got to be somewhat careful about this.
He feels comfortable, though. He has rotating supports, both smoked up, and they're looking for something big. Especially with this spell still available, they can burst down the Bane really hardcore. And Hannah doesn't have too much to offer in this position here. So they go in, they rotate around the trees, stacking up a couple of their disables, but nevertheless finding the kill.
They just gotta truck the heck out of here. Maglev, I'm not sure he should go back there. They could rotate Fnatic people over here. And let's keep in mind Magnus doing very well. MSS, he's got his Arcane Boots and Blink Dagger. I think if the previous game is any indication, he's probably going to go another item before he tries to rush that refresher. So, but he's well on his way to that other item.
Definitely. Hey,
what do you think that should be, by the way?
It's for which hero individually?
Magnus.
Magnus specifically. It's hard to say. A BKB sounds actually pretty good in my opinion, considering what they're up against and the telekinesis being so instantaneous. We saw how frustrating it could be when Mojo can't land the RP he's looking for on a target and in the mid lane there. And I think that could be a recurrence if he doesn't have a BKB to bring to the fight. Real quick though, if you wouldn't mind just calling me back on Skype, we are getting a little bit robo-y a couple times over.
I'll call you back.
Sure. Smurf duking it out with the Lone Druid just a little bit here and there, but still finding his farm, not really being inhibited too much by that pressure there. We do actually miss out a kill on bottom. Actually, mid lane, there is a Luna Blade popped off on Mojo, dishing out a lot of damage here. There is going to be Maglev bursting down on Bane, but here comes the Fiend's Grip, answering back. The tower not striking at him, but still going to dish out a lot of damage here. Will it be enough, though? The Brain Sap came on through, but here is that Feast. Nice defensive Nightmare, and there's the burst. Maglev still gets the kill on the Bane. He invests inside a creep. What is going on here? He's going to actually be able to use his ultimate and then toggle the armlet as best he can. And, yeah, I'm not sure how it'll play itself out, but right now he is really locked in place. I'm going to try to go for it here. There, he's going to get locked. He doesn't pop off the rage in time and instead just takes a fall. Meanwhile, though, buying time, Lifestealer was alive long enough and a threat long enough that they could actually push down on that top tier 1 tower. Lone Druid bringing that down quickly, and now forcing out the fortification on the mid. Caesar wants something to happen here. Still has Epicenter, gets a double burrow. No Epi just yet, though. Instead, having the Sandstorm in the middle of it. No detection. Goes for the Epi. Is he going to get it? The Epi does fly, but not going to be able to bring anybody down just yet. It looks like Floxbox is going to try to burn it down. Smurf does get Fiend Grip, and that was a great steal from Steph Style. I actually didn't catch either way. Finding the Fiend's Grip, locking him down, they did the damage they needed to and finished the job. That is their first kill on the Anti-Mage, and you generally see his skill builds at 1-1-1, but he certainly doesn't want his kills to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, no, that was a really, really good kill from Keita, actually. They did get the Epicenter on Blaze. The Epicenter dealt all of its damage to Anti-Mage, in addition to the Fiend's Grip. Without that Epicenter, there was no way Smurf dies there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just about to complain about where the hell the epicenters are, considering they put so much effort into the Sand King, and that was the first one.
Yeah.
But if you gotta have a first epicenter at some point, you might as well kill the anti-mage with it.
Yeah, exactly. And in that kind of position, it was effective. They still lost CISO, but he's still going to be able to move in towards his Blink Dagger relatively quickly. He's got all his bread and butter, core items to build up to it, and now he's pretty much just willing to go in for the kill. We do see Maglev going in all the way in. He is enfeebled up, but the armlet's still dishing out a lot of damage. Switches target over and over. Finally goes in on top. Oh, keep Austin fun. Barely able to get on out of there. The bear finishing off the tower, and now the chase is on. They're going to try to pursue. They have Blink and Force Staff. I'm surprised they didn't go for at least a skewer to try to lock somebody down.
I want to quickly say, this is a mistake Maglev's made several times, actually. He made it in the TL series a couple of times, too. Even if you can rage through the Nightmare, Bane casting Nightmare on himself will still de-target you. And actually, we've seen him hit creeps before, and that time he switched targets for a while before he actually returned to the Bane. You have to be ready to just immediately retarget the Bane and hit him again while you still have Rage up.
Sure.
And so, I think Fun escaped as a result of that.
Yeah, he definitely survived by the skin of his teeth, and that was really, really close. But yeah, nevertheless, they were able to get the Bane out, and they didn't really, they dived so darn deep. They got the tier 1 tower kill, so I guess they can't complain, but this Anti-Mage is a ticking time bomb, and they really need to actually start making a move, because he's even finding a kill down on the bottom tower, and that should not be something they can allow. Going on in, can they get the Entangle? No.
Nice job of Smurf actually escaping from that, and managing to pick off the tower as well. So the issue for Keita is actually, they're doing fine as far as finding farm. They're finding just about as much farm as Fnatic are collectively finding. The problem is XP. At this point, they're getting really outstripped on levels. Like, the Anti-Mage is 3 levels above Maglev. And then MSS is 2 levels above Saizo. Of course, Hannah Montana is still behind Floxbox, but Floxbox hasn't done that much yet this game. He finally has Armlet and Hyperstone, so he's going to build towards... I'm not sure, actually. I think it's probably going to be a Cuirass, but still, they need... Either they need to win on farm, or they need to catch up on levels. But what they're doing right now is just going to kind of get them constricted by that Anti-Mage.
Yeah, very true, honestly. The one thing I want to comment on is the farm density, where all this gold is going. Right now, actually, as I speak, Magnus does find a pickoff on the Rubik there, just blinking on in, and shockwaving down. I guess the Rubik was just a little bit too low. Either way.
He was super low after getting hit by Illuminate.
Sure enough. That's the power of the Illuminate that we've been talking about quite a bit. And they're actually going to be able to push on Tier 1 as a result. Going in 4v5, they're confident in this position here, especially with all their ultis up. And yeah, they're going to go on top of this. Hannah Montana in a rough spot, but actually it feels relatively comfortable in the sense that Caesar won't get the ulti off just yet. Lightstriker does drop down on him, though, and he's not going to get his hookshot off. So he is in over himself, and he's kind of saying, team, where are you guys at? Because, honestly, without Anti-Mage here, they weren't willing to commit as a full team fight. 5v5.
Smart, honestly. They do leave Hannah Montana singing the Skeleton King lines when he's resurrecting guys, but it's fine. I mean, they lose Hannah, but they still get farm for Smurf. He's still completely safe. He's split pushing. Manta styles up. He can pressure this tier 2 tower if he wants, but he doesn't have to. And Fnatic, actually, good ward here by Keita, preventing any more ancient stacking nonsense coming up here. But I still feel like Keita fighting from a substantial behind position.
I really like that ward, honestly. They need to lock down this Anti-Mage's farm because he's kind of spiraling out of control. Net worth of 12.5k. Yes, they'll get Bashers eventually on the Lifestealer, on the Lone Druid, but for right now, they are going to have a hard time locking him down, and he can pretty much just do whatever he wants. Burst down on Lina, burst down on Rubik, drop down on Ultimate, and suddenly they already have a one-hero advantage going on into it. So I'm very, very confident, and we could see something like what happened yesterday in the, it was Q-Pad, Red Pandas going up against, I'm trying to remember, no, it was their last match of the day. It was...
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Empire?
Unfortunately. Kaipi, that's what it was. Kaipi versus Q-Pad. Anyways, Sing Sing had Battle Fury, had Empower, Select got a 5-man reverse polarity, actually 4-man reverse polarity, and Queen of Pain blinked right next to it, and literally it took Sing Sing 2.5 seconds to get a full Rampage. He cleaved through the entire cluster. It was insane. And honestly, that's still something that's fully possible. Fnatic... no matter how much farm comes on Keita...
Saizo. Oh no! They lost the Blink Dagger! Oh, they got the Blink Dagger.
Okay, they got the Blink Dagger, but still he has to blink away this very second because he's going to get dropped down. Otherwise, I'm not sure why he didn't blink first, but now he does get it off and will be able to get right on into MSS. Morox and Mojo, he's just pincered in. There's 5 people here, and there's no way of getting out of there.
Nice job by Fnatic there. That was a good catch, and they get the Courier. It's even more gold. They don't quite get the Blink Dagger. That would have been an enormous coup. But still, Smurf, he's holding the Aegis from that free Roshan that they got. He's dealing a ton of damage, and in fact, his net worth is starting to really eclipse anybody on Keita. Floxclox is finally sort of caught up to the pack, but he's not caught up to Anti-Mage. And I don't know, I feel like... Also, Maglev has just been static for ages. He doesn't have anything more than he had, like, 5-10 minutes ago. He has some gold, but that's about it.
Yeah. Looking for a pick up on towards the top lane. This smoke up of these 2 supports, do you think they could actually bring down the Anti-Mage, or is he just so big that they have to offer a lesser target?
Maybe they could get Magnus, but they're not going to find anybody. I think it's going to be tough to pick off Smurf. At best, you could remove the Aegis, which is not nothing,
yeah, of course.
It's not what you want.
Yeah, it wasn't implying that they could ever bring him down twice, but I was just saying the first time. I'm not even sure if they have the firepower for that. I mean, they have a lot of damage output, they have the telekinesis, and they do have the Light Strike Array, but it only lasts so long.
Oh, they're going to fight. Bottom, it's going to be an engagement.
Yeah, they're looking for it. They need to start it off appropriately, but they started off terribly. Mojo getting a beautiful double RP, dropping down on Lina. She's gone before she gets a spell off, and here's that Fiend's Grip, locking down Maglev. The right clicks come on through, and they will bring him down half life, but now he's coming on in, swinging away, gets the right clicks to bring down the Bane. There goes the Infest, and it looks like F4L will drop as well, so still, it works in their favor. The Entangle Proc locks F4L in despite the Force Staff, and now we do see them bring it down. Meanwhile, on top lane, Smurf, right-clicking down on towards the tier 3. Cizo does what he can, but it's rather limited right here. Does get a Burrow Strike on, and I don't think he has to blink out. He gets Fiend's Grip instead. It was stolen by Steph. He got the Fiends. He's going to be able to bring him down with the Urn, and there is going to be the kill. Oh my gosh, Smurf is going to die here. The Urn taking away, the Aegis on the ground. That was baller. Steph style coming on in. They're going to look for more. I obviously don't think they can do much, but, you know, might as well try.
Yeah. No, I thought that they might not actually get the kill, but one Rubik auto attack down to the low ground was enough.
Well, actually, I think the auto attack would have been disjointed by Blink. It was the Urn taking away. The HP removal won't be mitigated by Spell Shield, and he was definitely dead before that even became a factor. So, yeah.
Glad that gets... Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they get that Aegis up. Or rather, they get the Aegis back down.
How long would it have been? It would have been up for about 3 more minutes, so it's definitely still a relevant kill.
And it makes him... He feels so comfortable split pushing when he has Aegis. When he doesn't, it's a lot less comfortable. And that's 2 huge steals coming out from Steph style onto the Bane Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, most definitely justifying the pickup of that Rubik there. I mean, it's not the hardest spell to steal. It is a channeled effect. But nevertheless, getting some really, really great spells and using them to great effect there. Both times on carries, both times locking them in place. And he has to be feeling pretty good about himself as a result of that. Right now, the kills go in the direction of 8 to 10 in favor of Fnatic, so still not so many kills on the board, but still a lot of action. Multiple teams moving around, trying to get movement on the map, and now they're going as 5. With most of their ultis up, do you think Fnatic can be contested here?
I think they just still don't feel super confident. I do think that they'd win in an engagement right now. Floxplox is dangerous, but not overly so. He's got the Basher in addition to the Hyperstone, so not building that Hyperstone to anything just yet. And I actually think this is pretty smart of a decision because Maglev is still not threatening. So adding the Cuirass to help out Maglev.
Initiation, they go on the cogs, but Ciso's in range for this epicenter. He's going to be able to get the blink off here. He jumps right on top of Bane. The Fiend's Grip interrupted, dropping down FRL in the back, and he gets the mech. He might be able to survive for a moment, but not much longer. Here's that RP, dropping on down. Big ulti, but they steal it. They throw it right back with Steph Styles. Gigantic reverse polarity. Rubik polarity coming out. Smurf will be able to blink away. Hannah Montana gonna limp. No, they get the stun. Can they get the entangle proc? No. No bash, no entangle. They get the open wounds. Last chance. They need to get it. They get one bash. They get the telekinesis. They bring him down. Smurf will fall, and that seals an opportunity that Keita couldn't have hoped for more. And in this case, they will be able to at least take this tier 2, I believe. The buyback forced out from Anti-Mage right here.
My jaw is agape. Wow. I mean, I want to talk real quick about Steph Style. He's had the game of his life. These steals have been excellent, and also, finally, Sizo, a perfect epicenter and a perfect burrow strike. That Bane Fiend's Grip lasted half a freaking second.
Yeah.
And 2 kills for the epicenter, and just excellent on-point burrow strikes, excellent on-point Rubik casts.
Yeah.
Even the telekinesis at the end, catching out Smurf a second before his next blink. And the only thing here is Fnatic can actually respond to their tier 2 push, so this isn't quite as safe as I think they think it is.
Yeah. So, Bane is invisible. They don't have any detection as far as I know. They do have one sentry, but they're probably not going to be using it here. Actually, Bane will interrupt a nightmare, put a Nightmare on Sand King, who was trying to TP on out, so a bit of frustration, but I don't think it limits his potential to maneuver. Clockwork ulti trying to change that thought, but Hannah won't connect, unfortunately, because, you know, he did burrow and then blink. There's no real way to get a beat on that without vision. Anyways, Assaultcross finished up for the Lone Druid, puts it back on his bear, as one would assume. But yeah, that team fight was perfect. In the trees was Sand King. Great positioning. I love this spot for Sand King. Just gets the epi, blinks right on top of it, and yeah, gets a beautiful burrow onto the 2 supports. The mech does come out, but literally 1 second later, both Bane and Keeper Light had dropped. And suddenly, it's a 5v3. In that position there, Magnus was the one who had to make it happen. He certainly did, but immediately after the fact, Steph made it even worse for them. He still technically has that maxed rank reverse polarity up his sleeve. He could use it here if he can go. Yeah, just pop it here onto Anti-Mage. Going for some bashes. Go. Oh, it's put down on Floxplox. He is still in Druid form, but still taking a lot of hits here. He should drop. He drops off that battle cry. There's the skewer. Will he get out? No. Too much damage coming on in. Stealing up the blink. I believe Rubik just was able to jump on out. Maglev wants a piece of this. I'm not sure about it, though. BKB comes out, and that Lina should be dead in a moment. Does drop. No, Life Strike not going to save him there. And
good big pickup for Smurf, that BKB.
Oh, big epi. Dropping down. Ciso dropping FRL down to low life. Don't force stuff away, though, and I think they will be able to make it out of it, but it also makes sure that they cannot follow up. That's the big deal. They took up 2 kills, and that should be a tier 2 tower push, but because the epi came out and dished out so much damage, they didn't feel comfortable about pushing, and they just had to fall back.
Right. I still feel like Keita in these big teamfight engagements are just beating everybody in this so far in this bracket. But the problem is that wasn't really a team fight. It was 1v2 and then 2v2 and then 2v2 again and then 2v4. They need to find those big engagements to actually win, I think. They need everybody concentrating on Smurf, especially before he pops that BKB, to be able to bring him down and then bring the rest of the team down, and or vice versa. In small engagements, Keita are by no means favored. Like, you saw Floxplox drop incredibly quickly. I would really, really like to see this Lone Druid build up that Ghost Scepter that we sometimes see on the hero rather than on the bear. I think that's going to be a critical next thing for him to get.
Yeah.
More so than the Abyssal. He's only 3,800 away from the Abyssal only, but I do think I would like to see that Ghost Scepter more.
Yeah, I think Ghost Scepter and then Abyssal will be a perfect build up there, making sure he can survive, and then, of course, locking down that Anti-Mage. Steph Style getting an Anti-Mage blink, putting FRL down in the low ground. They get a pick off on Coddle that he couldn't have seen coming at all. Really, really smooth play. Didn't give him a chance to force staff, because the Burrow Strike was right there after the fact.
Counter push, though. Big counter push. And yet, they do guess the right anti-mage for that open wounds, but not a big deal. You can just see these anti-mage Manta illusions pretty intimidating.
Cool thing is that even if they lose Rax, they actually have a pretty good team to deal with it. Sand King and Alina both individually can counter push a full Mega Creep wave very, very effectively. So if you have to have a Rax disadvantage, you want the supports that can actually deal with it, so your core heroes can still be out farming.
But they don't want to get,
Of
they
course.
do not want Raxus down, because in a multi-core lineup, you need free lanes to actually get your farm. And if those lanes start really getting pushed in, that's, I don't know, it'll put them in bad shape, because Maglev is still really behind, in my opinion. This is the first game in both these series where he's been sort of behind relative to his team. He's only level 16. His net worth is worse than Magnus is. I mean...
Ooh, yeah.
MSS has Vlad's, and he's gonna have Refresher. Like, he has 3.4k.
Yeah, might as well. In that situation, he definitely has the tools to acquire. We do see a pretty cool smoke with the Infest inside CSO. He's ready for the biggest magic damage bomb possible. But nevertheless, it's really, really hard to see if this will play out into their hands. They actually go on top. Steph with that anti-mage blink, setting up over and over on Cuddle. Will they get the response, though? Mojo, they get the Force Staff away. They also pop off the mech and the Blinding Light. There is not going to be anything coming out of this bear. And I think they should just fall back from here. They're in a really bad spot. Hannah locking in Frigo Leap, but they do bring him down in time. With that Force Staff to the right click will still connect. Either way, it seems that Anti-Mage could Smurf go in for just a cleanup kill on Frigo? It would be extremely overzealous.
I don't think he should, because Saizo's still
just
carrying Lifestealer.
Yeah, he's just going in for the split push, going up top, but I don't think it's going to really net much.
Roche,
they could even go for Roche and still defend their tier 3 in time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tricky. Hannah Montana, he knows exactly what time it is.
Yeah, Rocket Flare. Rocket Flare coming on out. They're going to be able to see what's going on and respond appropriately.
Oh, man. This is so tense because, of course, Smurf, the time is coming. He is going to push.
Oh, they have to fall back. They should. It's a lose-lose situation right here. If they go and engage in this mid-fight, they're losing their top racks.
Fortify.
Yeah, but they still have to fall back. I mean, that's not changing that fact.
No,
CISO comes on in.
Oh.
The United Steeler, they're going on in. They don't have any more lockdown, though, unfortunately. And but there is going to be Sand coming on through. 3 seconds away. He pops off an herb, but he's not going to be able to bring him down. He's in the trees.
Yes.
Blind bro, go! He got the vector. He got the magnitude, but he didn't get the timing. In the mid lane, we do see big drop down on the Lone Druid. He gets locked in place. They don't commit the RP just yet. We do also see a steal in the Empower, helping out the Nakes a ton. He's going to be able to dish out a ton of damage here, but instead dispels it with the Rage. Just trying to dish out on the Hannah Montana, but these Force Staffs allowing them to kite it so hardcore. Bane did fall, and that looks like it was the work of the Lone Druid, but he paid with his life.
It's tough. The buyback on Flox Blocks. He needs Ghost Scepter, in my opinion, and he's not going to get it for a while now. His net worth is flatline. It really hasn't improved in a while, while Smurfs is going up, up, up. He actually could buy out for Butterfly. He won't, of course, because they're going to need him to buy back if they start losing the Roche advantage. But, I don't know. This is a tough situation for Keita. I think they're on the tipping point of losing by a dramatic margin. Yeah. If they can't make something bigger.
Looking for an Epi Blink. He has a great spot. No, just going for the Burrow right here. Raw damage coming out, and they're going to be able to finish off the Keeper Light immediately. Can look for more on top of Boston. But right now, Fun is just going to be able to fall back from here. Man, down on the top lane, when Anti-Mage was on the run, did you happen to have your camera there, or did you already jump over to mid?
No, I had it on him.
Okay, that was such a close TP scroll. Like, I don't even know. That was...
Now he's pushing bot.
I mean, that was a great attempt from the Sand King, but unfortunately, it just didn't connect.
He was exactly in the right spot. Exactly. Like, map hacks level in the right spot.
Yeah.
Oh man, they don't have enough time to rush and go back unless they fortify.
Yeah,
maybe
they're making a hard decision here. They are going in 5v4, so they could just win the fight outright. But the Fiend Script is not a great start. They put up the Magnus, but he's still going to be able to dish out the damage they want. Cizo with a big epicenter coming on through, but he gets RP'd by 3. It's stolen. Steph's low HP, but he drops on Hannah Montana and tries to get on out of there. Shockwave will come to finish him off, but Cizo still doing what he can on the front line. Sandstorm's out to survive, and now the Tangle Proc comes on to F4L. MSS Mojo get on out of there, but he doesn't have any more cooldowns. Entangle Proc or Bash Proc on either one connecting, and the Lone Druid falls back to move towards Roche. They cannot wait it out any longer. Where is Anti-Mage? Why did he...
He bought back, and he bought Butterfly out. He got recalled into the fight and killed immediately. He's got to be super mad.
Wow, Smurf coming on in.
No, he didn't steal it.
No, Kill and the Aegis went to the Radiant, but now Smurf has the opportunity to kill Maglev a second time, and yeah, he's going to be able to get it right here. Gets the kill. Nice attempt for the Burrow Strike, but Cizo falls as well underneath the Sentry Ward, and they lose 2. Oh my goodness, this Roche didn't help them at all, and in this position, now Smurf can go in for the kill, go in for some legitimate racks, not just whittling away at them, but actually bringing them down. Flox in a bad spot. Buy your Ghost Scepter, buy your Ghost Scepter! He's not going to go for Ghost Scepter, he's just going to throw the money on the ground, because...
Just buy it. He should buy the Ghost Scepter. There's
600
no
gold.
about it. This would be such a huge mistake to not get it. He can't buy back.
Yeah, he's still alive. He will survive through this at least, but...
By the way.
Yeah. Anyway, Smurf coming on in, just focusing. I was gonna say the racks, but he wants to go for the Lina. He gets the damage. He actually brings down Lina with a big right click there. But here comes some buybacks coming on in. There is gonna be the Sand King and the Lifesteal trying to jump back on in, but they cannot. They don't have the vision on the Magnus, so he TPs to safety. Jumping on in, Steph Style has Anti-Mage Blink and Infested next. He's going to be able to get this telekinesis off in just a moment, and there's the kill on Boston.
This game is insane.
Ridiculous.
Actually,
all over the place. Like, it was so quiet.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was so quiet for so long, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose. Smurf cleaving away, farming up. He has 2,300 in the bank. He's got his BKB on 7 seconds. Butterfly, Battle Fury. Now, you mentioned that Smurf got recalled into the fight and then immediately evaporated. Who was able to do that much damage to him?
Dude, he got recalled into the middle of every single hero. He got
Fair
off
enough.
a big mana void, and then, I mean, everybody was hitting him. Every single person was smacking away at that anti-mage.
Wow.
But he immediately bought back and finished Butterfly. I actually have to say, a little bit sloppy play from both teams there, because I really think they should have waited to recall him until he got one of the Raxes down.
Yeah, that would have been very
beneficial. He could have easily gotten the
beneficial.
melee and still come back in. Instead, he didn't get the melee and died and spent the buyback, so he doesn't have buyback for 3 minutes. Now, the flip side of that is basically nobody on Radiant has buyback. Actually,
Yeah.
only just the Lina. Everybody else bought back in that fight. In some cases, unnecessarily. I actually think Saizo's buyback was completely unnecessary, and it took him very far away from the Scythe of Vice that he's trying to build.
Yeah.
But still, they did get the Roshan out of all of that. So, Fnatic, their lead is only about 10k in terms of gold and about 5k XP. The flip side, of course, is that Naked Rax bottom. And that anti-mage can do a lot of split push there.
Yeah. He didn't leave his illusions behind, so he wasn't able to bring it down. They took down the tier 3 tower, but they had responded in time where the creeps didn't do any permanent damage. So now they're in a good turtle position. They still are full 6 racks versus 6 racks, but we do see the smoke initiation. Clockwork, Hannah Montana has a great opportunity to set something off, single somebody out, and when everybody rushes in, that's when Mojo Stormstout really wants to jump on in. But Steph Style has Nakes infested inside. They pop off. Was that a smoke of their own? No, I must miss seeing. No, they do have it on Cizo. I love smoking Sand King. Smoke Sand King, he can get a blink initiation off from out of nowhere. They don't see it coming, and right now, they're currently only has 4. I'm curious if they want to even march outside their base right now, because honestly, Fnatic cannot hold this position because they're just buying time for Smurf.
I don't think that they should necessarily jump in, because they can bring anti-mage back, but they might try, I guess. No, the 4 staffs are critical. Do they have more than one? How many do they have?
At least 2,
By the
I
way,
think 3.
MSS, I love this Scythe of Vice from him, too.
Yeah, they have it on Keeper of the Light, the Clockwork, and the Magnus. 3 4
yeah,
staffs.
I mean, the number of 4 staffs make it impossible for Keita to effectively chase.
Top
and
tier
meanwhile,
3.
Smurf,
It's gone, and he can
backdoor
TP.
almost saves it.
I'm not sure why he BKB'd there, but nevertheless.
I mean, if it was Rubek and he telekinesis him, he'd be in trouble.
Yeah. Speaking
oh, no,
of...
Saizo.
Oh, Sai's on a bad spot here. He can Sandstorm and then try to Burrow Strike to the east or something. I don't even know, man. He's got to get out of there. 2 seconds left for the Blink Dagger.
Okay.
He will... No! Get
okay.
skewered. He is the opposite of okay, my friend. He is locked down, and he doesn't have buyback, as you mentioned.
Oh, man, I thought he'd make it. That actually is an enormous loss. This Without Sand King, they can't hold both top and bottom.
Yeah.
They have to pick one.
Yeah, exactly. And Smurf's gonna make the decision very hard for them right now. Already pushing it. They do have a lot of stunts coming out. The Laguna Blade 2, they're exhausting everything. They get the Entangle. They lock him down, and he is dead.
Still go bot.
What?
Now they can go bot. They're actually okay.
They held both of them. Smurf just got a little overzealous. They needed pressure simultaneously, and instead they did it one at a time. And walking one by one, they were able to force everything on him. And despite his spell shield, despite his relatively impressive HP pool, he doesn't have a heart yet, and they can do things like that.
Oh, man. I mean, he's going to need that heart next. That's what he should fill out with, in my opinion. I can't think of anything that would be better than that.
Yeah.
Maybe Lincoln's? No, to get the heart, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, now that I think about it, I'd like Lincoln's too.
Stop. Just stop. He can get whatever he wants. I think Hart is fine, but either way, they are in such pressure that I honestly don't even know if they have the time to devote to considering items in detail. I guess he does. He has 50 seconds sitting time out, but...
yeah. He says all the time in the world, Blaze. He's got 50 seconds. I mean, Fnatic, they're still in the driver's seat. Let's be clear. Lifestealer is still substantially behind Magnus as far as net worth goes. This is not Magalev's game. It's just not. He hasn't been that effective. He has this Desolator. He's going to build towards Heart himself, which will make him tanky. but it just still doesn't provide that much in the way of pressure. They are finally going to get this tier 2, but they're not going to get anything else. I don't think they can push to tier 3, because of course these naked Raxes make that problematic. They always need to return to try to consider these Raxes.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. Right now being pushed on in, but still full HP. Still, Rubik is going to be the one to stay behind for the moment. Steph Style kind of wants to keep his eye on Magnus. Wherever Magnus goes, he wants to be, but it's going to be a lot harder for him to steal spell steal if Magnus plays his cards right. Mojo has his own Scythe of Vice. If he blinks in, Sheeps hexes the Rubik and then gets the RP off, or maybe, I don't know, whatever skill order it matters, it can be a lot of potential.
Hannah almost got Friggly, but he just barely missed the hook. Hasn't been Hannah's game either, frankly, while we're being evaluatory.
You haven't felt the impact of a Clockwork in this game whatsoever. It's just...
I mean, he was a building for a while.
Yeah. Cliff it up. Oh.
Let's remember, that was still this game.
Yeah, exactly. Just rusting away, he did spend quite a few of time. I was talking about the extended anti-mage timeout, but shoot, that Clockwork, level 4... had a little bit of time to think about what he's done himself, so in that kind of position.
Twitch TV was talking about, remember that beautiful little trap video?
Yeah, definitely.
we were sharing the YouTube and Twitch chat about that.
But Magnus abandoned him, man. Magnus abandoned him. It could have been a recreation, but nevertheless. Magnus gets plopped up there and just is like, oh, I have TPC.
I don't know. I don't think it's hopeless for Keita. I think Fnatic know that it's not hopeless for Keita, which is why they're still playing not all balls to the wall, let's get these Raxes down. They also really want that hard on Smurf, if that is indeed what they're... Wow, look how careful he's being now. This is the carefulest anti-mage. Look how he's going to get to the side shop.
Super caution. What is he going to buy here? Like, what's he even accomplishing with this? Like,
TP... no, he's got his Boots of Travel.
He's got BOTs.
No, it's just incredibly safe. Like, he's worried about them spotting him out, and they're not going to.
He's waiting until they push out so that he can push in. I mean, he knows he can bring down these racks in seconds if he just gets the opportunity to do so. But right now, he is just waiting. The creep wave by itself will push in, so he just wants to keep tabs on it, keep close to it, and then be ready. But they're actually going in, presumably as 5 here. They're all smoked up, and yeah, I think Mojo is looking for this initiation timing. Going on through.
King is carrying Lifestealer again, and let's keep in mind, time isn't enough has passed that 7 people on the map have buyback.
Yeah.
3 of Keita, 4 of Fnatic.
It's going to be big. But right now, Bane is relatively close to the action, but doesn't want to go in just yet, especially not by himself. Just dropping a couple wards, getting ready. This is the fight. This is what everybody's been waiting for. Clashing up, back and forth, and now they're going to be going on in. It's going to be insane. It's all about, in my opinion, the Sand King's Burrow Strike timing. The Zeppy, of course, has to be along with it, but if the Burrow Strike, the positioning compared to BKB's, and who he hits, so on and so forth, it's all about that compared to that of Mojo Storm Stouts. If he gets a good Scythe off, avoids his reverse polarity being stolen, and gets them locked in, going to be in a great spot. But this smoke could be very, very dangerous for even Smurf himself.
Are scattered. They're pretty far away. I'm not sure if Keita are going to find anything here in the jungle.
Well, they're going to see him down the lane. He's about to farm it, and if they
he'll get out.
Take that as a signal. It depends.
He knows that he needs to play defensive. Like, it would be a huge mistake, a huge error. But okay, they're peeling back. I think they agree. He could leave like hours before they got there.
True. And the Manta Style is still pushing in on the top lane. They're going to have to at least send one support. Just do a quick little bit of counter push out.
2 naked racks is a tough situation, but then again, it's a situation we know Keita can handle because it happened last game.
Yeah, and it's been happening for like the past 15 minutes, so they're in their rough patch. But so far they've been pulling on through. As far as items, we need to talk about item progression on the Lone Druid. He has MKB to make sure that he can stay on target against that butterfly. Really, really good selection there.
I like the MKB. I still wish he had Ghost Scepter. I wish so fervently that he had Ghost Scepter.
If he stays far enough back, it might not be a factor. We'll have to see. It's all about him and how he maneuvers, but that bear not doing 1/3 of his auto attacks to the anti-mates, it's inexcusable. He has to be able to get that physical DPS, because the Sand King certainly can't do it up against that spell shield. Either way, right now, I gotta say, the Nyx have been infested so darn long that right now he's gotten absolutely nothing. He had his Desolator maybe 6 minutes ago, and then since then he's picked up a Vit Booster. That's all he's got to show for himself, and it's pretty rough.
He's got a lot of gold, but yeah, I agree. They're holding buyback, Blaze. They know they need to hold buyback. That's why you don't see bigger items on Sizo. He's eventually going to get a Scythe, but he knows he needs to hold buyback. And it's the
Keeper of the Light, Vision, nighttime, extremely difficult to see this happening, and they're actually looking at Roche Pit going on in. They could find him 100%. The Bane is... Oh, he just saw him! He just saw him. They could go on in this very second. They're going to close on in. CISO in the right spot, and Bane is dead. The Roche is up. They are down by 1. Buyback on Bane is not available, one of the few. And now they have to see. The Clockwork Flare reveals that Keita is going all in on this position here. Mojo Storm Stout is down on the bottom. They're just going to go for the racks. They're trading it out here. There is going to be some fortification finally used. CISO trying to force away Smurf, but they get the Roshan. They're all going to fall back, being able to reinforce. Can they hold both of them, though?
Did he cancel any TPs with this hook? I think he might have.
I guess so. We have 2 locked in. He doesn't have TP. Maglev is locked in as well. He didn't have TP in the first place, so they are in a bad spot, and they cannot do anything about this lane. But Smurf going to get stunned up here. They follow up with a Light Striker, Laguna Blade, everything, but the BKB comes out. And now Smurf can go in and do what he wants to. But RP coming out too. They're going to be able to bring down both of them right here. 2 drop down. Buyback available only for the Rubik. No, not even. They lose both of them. They lose the racks. And, yeah, Sand King is sheeped up and is going to get dropped down too. Terrible engagement, and it's because they didn't have their cores. They were engaging 3 versus 2, but the 2 main heroes that they didn't have were stuck in the Roche pit, and now Smurf will take away this bottom racks.
Keita, this was a serious error. There's the epicenter, but he manages to blink out, and that his BKB was really good too. Will they get the racks? No, it has 15 HP. Blaze. Oh man. Keita, I think they can still live as long as they don't lose a second set of racks, but that was an enormous error. Not being able to bring back Maglev or Floxbox. They lose 3 heroes, all to Smurf. The Sand King has to buy back. He gets set back even farther from the Scythe of Vice, which actually, in my opinion, is pretty critical. He needs that Scythe of Vice sooner or later, and he's very, very far away from it. Still about 3k away. And, oh man, they lose racks for Roche. Sure, it was a cheese Roche.
And AM's the one that wins the Abyssal race, so I don't even know.
Man. That was somebody at Twitch chat, like Job from Arrested Development. I've made a huge mistake, and that's definitely what Keita have to be feeling right now, because this game was so tight. The teams were in almost... Anti-Mage was ahead, but with Keita's CC, they almost had the game in equipoise, and that just slipped away.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just too much. They tried to go in on the Anti-Mage as 3 magic damage dealers. They couldn't lock him down, and instead, Mojo and Smurf together made him pay for it. Going in again, round 2, get the Scythe off and the Abyssal to lock him in. There's a nice attempt for the Light Strike, right? He uses the Ghost Scepter as well, but I don't think he can actually stop this. The BKB comes out. He's going to try to get somebody. The Manta comes. He should actually just go for the bottom racks, but actually taking a lot of damage here. Big right clicks coming on through. Mojo locks in on the lifesteal on the Lina, but gets entangled up. They're locking damage on him, and I think they will be able to get Mojo here. They get a gem. They don't have the sight. They don't have that Aegis, but they lost their melee racks down on bottom. Smurf trying to finish off the range. No, just walking on away. Hannah Montana was able to clean it up there, but they still are trying to hold true. They're losing bit by bit, but they're not out of it yet.
Ugh, the problem is, how many people do you send back for Hannah, right? Like, oh my god, it's a clockwork. He was a building earlier. Why are we going to bother sending people back? But I don't find these trades favorable at all. You see MSS, he feels so comfortable. He didn't just immediately, like, snap buyback. He might not even need to. He can wait out the 60 seconds. They still have cheese on Floxbox. They've still got Aegis on Maglev. But we've reached the point at which they're under so much pressure, they may just have to trade away the remaining ranged racks to try to make something happen in the mid. Because a ranged rack's not the most important thing in the world.
That's exactly what
they
they're
only
gonna
need to go back when they move on to the tier 3 bid.
Yeah, but that might be very, very soon.
There's the buyback.
The tier 3 will come out. The buyback does come on through. There's no reason to wait now. He has so many great items, and he needs to be up in this fight. So they come on through. They get the Scythe off on Lifestealer. They're just trying to delay it. The longer the 2 sit in the mid lane, they're going to be great. And it looks like it's going to be Megas. They lost all 6 racks.
They're going to try to base race.
They're going to try it. They have to. Bears don't give a fuck, so maybe they have a chance here, but they have to go hard. Crystal is not going to add any damage to the buildings, but they do have that Assault Cross, reducing the damage. Here comes that Epicenter doing a lot of damage. The Skewer going to be unsuccessful, but the damage, everybody jump back. Smurf is back in the action here, so they're going to have to take down the Anti-Mage if they want the Ancient. Going Throne, Fortification pop, but the Bear will fall the first time ever. And now we'll have to see if they can actually get the second bear up. He's running around in circles, trying to keep him up. He gets a couple more right clicks. There's going to be a big, big RP, though, locking in the Lifestealer, locking in everybody. The Lone Druid, where is he? He's trying to go for it, but he just can't do it. Stunned out. He pops off the cheese, but that second bear is about to fall, and with it, their only hopes of winning this game.
Oh, no. They got to half on the Ancient. Now, keep in mind, there's Megas.
No, that's it. That was literally the last possible hope, and they dropped it down to 2,200. They gave it a good old try, but this game is done and out.
That was a cheeky, to use your term, frickin' base race there. The problem now is they have buyback on the Lone Druid, but no bear. So it's a Lone Druid with Magic Wand.
Oh, big Lone Druid, Magic Wand, Trinkle Boots. Stuff style going to be picked off right here. I mean, that's it. Literally, there's no way to... sugarcoat it. They'll pop their buybacks. They'll send their right clicks in, but literally the game was over the moment that Lone Druid died. And as such, StefStyle just trying to run around through. He actually stole a skewer with a Mana Leak active, but nevertheless, good game, well played, called out, and Fnatic answer back. They were
back, Blaze.
Yeah.
We're going to game 3.
Exactly it, because Keita did so darn well in their first game with that Phantom Lancer pickup that they were able to take it away, but Fnatic, after 51 minutes themselves, are able to seal the deal on this game themselves. Wow, what a game. I mean, the anti-fun of the Phantom Lancer, or the Cancer Lancer as the Twitch chat endearingly labels him, started off game 1, and now we see the anti-fun, literally, of this anti-mage coming on through, and just doing so much. They couldn't leave their base so many different times. They wanted to branch out. They wanted to take some real map control, but instead, every single time they did, Anti-Mage was like, hey, I'm hitting your towers, hey, I'm hitting your racks, and they had to respond. They were controlled all based on Smurf's decision-making, and from there, they couldn't really pull it out. They had a couple of windows of opportunity, but it just didn't work out, and I really feel that once they lost those 3 heroes trying to go in 3 versus 2 against AM and Mag, that was pretty much it for them.
I feel like it was a failure of nerve at the end from Keita. I feel like they ran out of patience, and they made some... It's a long game, and it was a stressful game for them. And in the end, not bringing Floxplox and Maglev back from the Rosh in time, I actually feel that was the moment that cost them the game. Because they lost all their supports, and from that point on, they were like on top of the pressure that Fnatic was bringing, and after that point, it was always catch-up. There was always just a little more pressure coming in than they could deal with. And so they lost one set of racks, then they lost a second set of racks to solo Clockwork, and it was just because they just couldn't quite catch it. They played well, but in the end, just not quite well enough. Also, MSS. I talked about how this guy has actually impressed me the most out of the Fnatic roster, and huge Magnus. 447 GPM, level 25 by the end, 3 levels ahead of Lifestealer, 6 levels ahead of his opposing mid, Boots of Travel, Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Scythe of Vice, Vladimir's Offering. I mean, this is a flush freaking Magnus.
Yeah, certainly. And of course, contributing the most, you see the kills, the assists. He just racked it up. He made the plays happen. I gotta say, still, ironic as it may be that they lost, I still want to give my MVP to StefStyle. That Rubik play, we highlighted on a bunch, but those steals were essential for having them hold as much ground as they did. And really, without him, it would have been over much, much sooner. So I really say, despite their loss, despite Keita taking a fall in this one, I'm giving my MVP personally to StefStyle.
Yeah, no, StefStyle, huge game. Let's see game 3, honestly, because both the first games were amazing.
Most definitely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, this is the We Play Group D of Stage 2, and this is the losers bracket. Whoever loses the next game goes and just is eliminated outright, but the winner gets another chance up against somebody who was in the winner's bracket in the second, third decider. So we'll see that coming up in the near future, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Blaze, this is Vikramond, and we will be bringing you guys Game 3 of this Best of 3 series in just a moment.